Good afternoon, and welcome. Because you know what time it is. You know what time it is. Time for GA for Justice. I'm talking about the hardest working lady in the 757. I'm talking about that community activist. She's everywhere. She's in DC. She's in California. I don't know where she went yesterday, but I know she's here today on GA for Justice with your host, the community activist, Miss Georgia Allen.
Hi, I don't know if you can see me, but my system is doing some crazy stuff today.
No.
I guess there's somebody out here don't want to hear what I have to say. So are you able to see me?
Yeah, you
You
good?
are.
Yeah.
That's weird
I
because
just want to give you my glasses
it
on.
looks like my screen is gone black on me.
Oh,
Yeah. So anyway, um um just want to say hello to my listening audience. Of course, I am Georgia F. Allen, and this is GA for Justice. I come to you every single Thursday from 12 o'clock noon until 1 o'clock. And as always, I want to thank Henderson Vaughn, aka Captain 85, the Dream Maker,
what can I tell you?
each and every week open up the airwaves to us just so that we can simply bring to our listening audience, to our community, to those who are our friends and our frenemies and our enemies alike, a conversation for information, a conversation for correction, as well as a conversation for transformation. And today, my topic is Imani. Faith is work, because a lot of times people say faith, oh, when they're talking about faith, they want somebody else to do the work. They just want to have a little faith, and then they say, okay, well, God will just do the rest. Well, faith is work, because scripture clearly says faith without works is dead. Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about that. You all know that I do follow the principles of Kwanzaa. At least I try to. So no one is perfect, so I can't get it right all the time. But I'm going to talk a lot this month about Imani and faith, because there's a lot going on throughout our nation. And I think it was George Michael that says you got to have faith.
Yeah.
and I throw this out here because I know I have a long time DJ on the line with Captain 85, and if I throw the wrong song out or the wrong artist, he can correct me right there on the spot and make sure that I have the right person lined up. So I do that sometimes intentionally to make sure that he confirms that I'm saying what I'm saying and that what I'm saying is true.
No doubt.
But the principle of Imani or faith says to believe with all of our hearts in our people and the righteousness and victory of our struggle. And I kind of wanted to use faith this month simply because of what is taking place on a national level with regards to the change of candidates in the middle of the campaign and the outpouring of love and support to the newest candidate that is now heading the Democratic Party. Because a lot of times we feel like, oh gosh, I'm so glad there's a woman running for office. Oh my God, I'm so glad there's a Black woman running for office. Oh my God, I'm so glad there's an uh, Asian Indian running for office. And so we get into all of these things with regards to who someone is, what they look like, whether they're male, female, black, white, blue, green, purple, or orange. And we spend a lot of time on that. And I want us to step back for a moment and spend some time on the work that it took for candidate Kamala Harris to get to the place that she is. Okay. Yes, she may have had some faith, but I guarantee you she had to put in work. And you say, well, what do you mean by that? Well, first of all, in order to have the education that she has, which is, of course, her bachelor's, and then she moves on and goes on and studies law, and she ultimately gets her law degree and becomes a lawyer. She then goes into the prosecuting office. All of these things take work. So for all of those people who are out here just hooping and hollering and saying whatever they want to say, she is not a DEI hire. See, DEI hires in the sense of the word are all those people who got their positions, who got their money, who were placed in different areas that are true DEIs. They were actually received that simply because of the color of their skin, simply because their papa had a little bit more money, simply because their papa knew someone somewhere. And so, therefore, those are the people who are the true DEI candidates, or I like to call them affirmative action. I spoke before a Rotary Club one time, and they asked me if I believed in the affirmative action. I said, absolutely. I'm sure they thought I would say, oh, well, I don't know. They thought I would probably cringe or whatever. You have the faith of works. You don't have to cringe. You just have to come straight forward with it. And I said, yes. You know why I believe in affirmative action? I said, because over there's this lawyer. I said, I guarantee you, when his daughter wanted a job, or when his daughter needed a position, or when his daughter needs someone to write a letter on her behalf, he looked over to his buddy, because she was going in the medical field, who was a medical doctor. And so guess what? He asked the medical doctor to write a letter on behalf of his daughter. Well, guess what? That was affirmative action, because you affirmatively acted to get your daughter in the position that you wanted your daughter to be in.
Hello.
So don't come to me about DEI. Don't come to me about affirmative action. Don't come to me about all those terms that you want to change what they actually mean, because you won't acknowledge that most of what you have received throughout your entire life has been because of privilege. So guess what? Those of us who don't have that particular privilege, we have faith, but guess what? We have a whole lot of work going on too. We don't just get there because of faith. We don't just get there because we have friends like many of you do. We get there because we put in the work. We get there because we put in the action. We get there because we fight. We pull ourselves up by the bootstraps, as they would say. But guess what? It's kind of a little hard to pull yourself up by bootstraps when they didn't leave you in the boots and they didn't leave you in the straps. Okay.
Hello.
All right.
Tell them again.
But guess what? We renamed DEI to be definitely earned it. Okay. We definitely earned every spot, every position, every place that we're in. Not only do we have faith, but we put in the work. So therefore, we earn everything that we have, because we've always been taught that we must be 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times better than others in order to get to the top of the heap. Okay? So DEI is definitely earned it. Didn't nobody give it to us. We definitely earned it. Nobody gave Kamala anything. They may have put her in a room. And I tell people this a lot. You know, a lot of times people say, well, you know, because of affirmative action. I said, look, affirmative action only puts us in the room. Affirmative action does not give us the position. The work that we do, the experience that we have, the knowledge that we have, all of those things position us to be wherever we end up in life. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me clearly?
Hear me now. Hear me roar.
All right, because I just want people to understand that from our community, we earn everything. We don't get free rides. We don't get special privileges. We earn what we achieve in life, and we earn every bit of it. So faith without works is dead, but faith is work, or faith takes work. And so it's not something that you can just sit down and just automatically expect that things are going to come to you. It takes work to get there. And so that's why we believe so hard in our family, in our community. We believe in our people, and we work very hard to make sure that we are victorious during this struggle, in the struggle, through the struggle. We work to become victorious. So, as I mentioned earlier, we have a candidate running for office by the name of Kamala Harris. And Kamala was selected by the current president. And a lot of people are like, well, why didn't he just resign? And then she just automatically ascends to the position of presidency. Yes, that is correct. But if she automatically ascends to the position of presidency, she is now being the president and trying to run for office in a window of all of 100, I think it was like 105 days total. Now, if you have someone who is already serving as president, and you have someone who has been getting legislation passed, and you have someone who has a relationship with both the House and the Senate from all the years of serving in Congress, it kind of makes more sense to continue to use that person who has been there for 40 years or 50 years or however many years you want to call it, and let them continue doing what they do best, so that you can then work on campaigning to become the president of the United States. So it didn't make sense for him to step down and for her automatically to ascend to the presidency, because if she had done that, these are the type of comments you would hear. Well, she just got the presidency. How is she going to get all that work done and run for office? And every time she's on the campaign trail, well, I don't think that's fair for her to be on the campaign trail. She should be in the office working, because keep in mind, when you are not from privilege, all of these loudmouth people expect 10 times more of you than they expect of themselves. Well, how do we know that? Look at Boebert. Look at Boebert. It's okay for her to go into a movie theater and literally perform all types of acts and behaviors that are so inappropriate. If anybody from another community had done likewise, there would be a loud drum roll to have that person removed from office, and it would not stop. If anybody who has the education of MTG down in Georgia, who doesn't know the Constitution, who doesn't know amendments, who doesn't know how to pass laws, who doesn't know how to write a bill, who doesn't know any of that, if that person looked anything different than bleach blonde, they would be drummed out of Congress.
Get out.
They would be drummed out. So here again, we have a different standard to live up to than these other people. They can pretty much do anything they want because it's called privilege. But if we are in a position, they want to scream and yell DEI. And again, DEI simply means that we are definitely, no doubt about it, we definitely earned it. We didn't get it by mistake. We didn't get it by happenstance. We definitely earned it, because we have to earn everything that we get. We don't get a free ride. We earn what we have. And so for all of these people who are out here and they want to make these noises and stuff, just remind them that DEI is definitely earned it. whenever they want to say something negative, like CRT or any of these other things, make sure you have a comeback to them. Okay? When they say CRT, I said, oh, you mean the country's real truth? Uh-oh. Hey. So don't let them put your back up against the wall and you can't come out. That's why there was Black Panthers. Because Black Panthers was a group that says, look, you're not going to put me up against the wall, and I'm not going to fight like you know what to get up off this wall. Okay? So we need to be ready to respond, and we need to be able to respond competently when someone comes after us, because they will come after all of us. They come after our children. They're going to come after our candidate. And so we are the type of people that must be able to navigate this system quickly. And I like to use Simone Biles as a prime example. When Simone Biles started with gymnastics and got sick, all the nasty things that was written about it, and even now, a lot of people who can't even jump over a puddle want to decide what her hair should look like.
Unbelievable.
I'm like, okay, this young lady then jumped over a horse, sprang into the air about 6 feet in the air, came down, standing strong, and they want to worry about the hair when they can't even jump over a puddle. So we are accustomed to people, and many in our own community, who go after us when we are in the fight, when we are working. They spent, the media spent, I don't know how many articles and how much time on, well, you know, she's got some mental issues. She's got this issue. She's got that issue. And now she come back after she gave herself the time. She goes back in there, and now they have up to 5 different performances in gymnastics named after her. That's how good she is.
Yeah.
Now, had she stayed, she was at risk of breaking her neck. She was at risk of breaking her spine. She was at risk of breaking a limb or anything, just trying to please a nation that you can't please, just trying to please a media that you can never please. So
Right.
she chose to go back and take care of herself. And so as I talk to you today, don't ever allow these loud mouths, don't ever allow these people who have never done anything, will sell their soul for a Happy Meal and 2 fish sticks.
Oh, wow.
Okay?
No French.
Don't let them tell you nothing. You do you. You do you. Do not allow them to tell you anything, because they will sit there and tell you all of this stuff that is of no value to you. You know you. And again, Simone Biles knew what was going on with her. She knew that she was having an imbalance. Okay. And if you've ever had a situation where you had an inner ear infection or anything and you became wobbly, that is not the time to be driving a vehicle. Okay.
Right.
If your equilibrium is out of balance, that is not the time to be walking across a bridge. If your equilibrium is out of balance, it is not the time to be doing uneven bars, parallel bars, or floor gymnastics in any way, shape, or form. So, Simone, to you, we want to congratulate you, congratulate the USA team for receiving the gold medal. And all the gold medals that you have received, you have now received more gold medals than any gymnast.
Wow.
And so again, faith is work. Simone put in the work. Vice President candidate for the nomination of the Democratic Party is putting in the work. And that's what we have to do. We have to put in the work, and that is throughout our entire community. That just can't be every 4 years. That has to be on an ongoing basis, all the time, every time. Okay. And we also have to realize, coming from our community, we must work through the chaos. Chaos is going to come at us. It has been coming at us. It will continue to come at us. It always somehow comes at us. So we're going to have to work through the chaos. If there is chaos, we have to work through it. We cannot give up. We cannot give in. And we cannot allow ourselves to be diminished or defeated. We have to stand up as we have faith in our works, as we work in our faith, so that we can stand tall in the midst of all these various trials that are going to come at us. One of the things that I have been doing since I've been back from convention, and convention was fabulous. There's so much that I could share with all of you with regards to the convention, but I would be here every day for the next 6 months if I were to try to share with all the things that we learned while we were out in Las Vegas at convention. But it did fire me up. And the thing that fired me up more than anything was our young people. Again, I have a youth shirt on today celebrating our young people in the NAACP, because they are out there doing the work. A lot of people don't realize how much work our young people do, and they do it on a regular basis, and they do it all over the United States of America. And so, again, my topic today is faith is work. It's work. And we have people who feel like just because they go to church, and just because they say, I love the Lord, and just because they pray and go to Bible study, that they do all of that. Let me fast and pray, and the Lord is going to bless me. Well, somewhere I read, as Dr. King would say, faith without works is dead. He said, show me your faith without your works, and I'll show you my faith with my works. Okay? So some of you guys, all y'all want to do is sit there and pray and say, oh, everything's going to work out. Well, sweetheart, let me explain something to you. Every single solitary person, pretty much in the Bible, I don't care if they wanted to be healed, they had to walk to Jesus and ask for his blessing. When the man's daughter was sick in the house near death, he walked to Jesus and asked him to come back and help my daughter. He put in the work. So I want all of you out here who are hoping and wishing and praying, get up off of it and get busy. Shall I say it again? All of you who are out here who are holier than thou, who sit here and say, well, let me fast, let me pray, let me do this and let me do that. And that's why I'm going to focus on IMANI, the faith, this month, because I love my ministers. I love my churches. I love my various groups, religious groups and everything. But you're going to have to speak to our people in a manner that will get them moving. Part of the reason why the civil rights movement was so great and people were able to achieve so much is because they didn't sit back and hope and just hope and pray that things would change. They put their feet to the pavement and was determined to make change happen. Did you hear me? They didn't just go to church and hope and pray. They didn't just go to church and fast. They didn't just go to church and say, well, let me meet with the pastor a minute. They put their feet to the pavement and they engaged and they changed outcomes. So we're in a similar situation today, but we're going to have to get out here We're going to have to get involved. We're going to have to get engaged and stop expecting the same people to be the only ones to get engaged. I attended YWCA last night, Unpacking Project 2025. And the wonderful thing that one of the youth, I would say she was probably the youngest person on the panel, either herself or the moderator. And she said, and we've heard it 1,000 times, you have to go to the people where they are. Okay, so some of us think that we got to fix everything at one time. And she was saying to us something very simple. It was just so simple and it made so much sense. She says, look, if you have persons who are from certain generations, you cannot go to them and say, oh, your grandmama died for you to have the right to vote. You have to go to them and ask them, what is it that you are concerned about? And if they tell you, then you have to be able to address their concerns and tell them how politics, how civics impact the fact that they want something different. A lot of the young people, they said one of the things that young people are really concerned about, they're concerned about health care. They're concerned about the environment. These are the things that they are very, very concerned about. But one of the things that I also heard is that they feel like when they vote, nothing seems to happen. So I think one of the other things that we have to help educate our young people about is truly how politics work, how civics works, how legislation works, what it takes to get it passed. So if you want something in 5 minutes, then I suggest that you vote into office persons who want to assist you in getting it done, and make sure that you have 2/3 of the House and 2/3 of the Senate, so that you can always have enough people who have a similar belief level that you have with regards to healthcare, with regards to environment, with regards to education, with regards to job creation, with regards to technology. Get enough of them in office so that you can get that type of legislation passed. Okay. You also want to make sure that you ask for what you want. A lot of times, our young people don't understand that they also need to form their own coalition and with an agenda, with a list of items of things that they want. Faith is work. If you want these things to happen, you have to put in the work. Faith is work. And I think part of the problem that we have a lot of times with our young people is that they want things to happen, but they won't put any energy into making those things happen. And what do you mean by that, Georgia? What I mean is they haven't formed their own coalitions. They haven't sat down. They haven't looked at logistics. They've simply looked at their goal and they have no definitive idea of how they're going to get to that goal. It's an I want mindset, but I don't have any processes. I don't have any strategies. I don't have any type of systems to make sure that those things take place. And so we're going to have to help them. So we don't leave them out there by themselves. They form their coalition, but they also have to have the humility to say, you know what, you guys did this before I got here. So rather than me sit here and try to fix all of this by myself, let me just talk to you a little bit about the things that you did well and the things that did not work so well. So let's sit down. Let's talk about that. Let's do a SWOT analysis on the civil rights movement. Let's do a SWOT analysis on the year 2000. Let's do a SWOT analysis of different presidential administrations and what came out of those administrations. How successful was it? What did we ask for? What did we receive? What was achieved? What wasn't achieved? Why did we think those things were not achieved? Okay, so let's ask the questions. So both the adults and the young people have to have some humility on both sides. We got to have some humility on both sides if we want to have some changes. Okay, does that make sense?
No question.
Does that make sense?
A lot.
All right. Well, I think I'm at that point where I like to do a few announcements and talk about a few people and everything. Upcoming, we got some great things coming up here. On the 3rd of August, which is this coming Saturday, guess what? We have the wealth transfer presentation, and it's going to be two. It's going to be in 2 parts, August the 3rd and August the 10th, from 9:30 to 11:30 at the Hive. Now, this is put on by the Virginia Beach NAACP because it's very important that we're bringing resources into our community. It's extremely important that we're educating our community everywhere possible. So that is going to be at the Hive. Then on the 17th, the guests that's going to be, the presenters are going to be Phyllis Jamott and Rocky Minor, and that's Mayner, and that is August 3rd and August the 10th at 9:30 to 11:30 at the Hive. And you can Google the Hive, Virginia Beach, and it'll tell you the location. Then on August the 3rd, which is this coming Saturday, there will be a coalition of civil rights and community social. There will be a group of civil rights and community social coalition group who will be at Enoch Baptist Church at 12 noon to 2 p.m. this coming Saturday, August the 3rd, for voter registration and restoration of rights workshop. So for those of you who may have family or friends who may have experienced the criminal justice system and you no longer have your rights, you want to tell everybody to come out. If you're listening to this now or you listen later and you don't live in the area, but you have family and friends who live in the Hampton Roads area, make sure that you send them this show so that they can get this information, or you can text it to them or write it to them or what have you, or email it to them. But keep in mind, this is what's going to change outcomes is engagement. You can't sit on the sidelines and say, oh, well, I hope they're going to restore my rights. You can't sit on the sidelines and say, oh, because I have faith. I've been praying and it's going to restore my rights. Okay? Faith is work. Okay? It is work. You got to get busy. Okay? You can't just sit back and hope that somebody else is going to do it for you. Get busy, get to work.
Don't worry.
Dead. And then on August the 12th, 2024 at 7 p.m. at the Hive will be the Virginia Beach NAACP General Membership Meeting. If you're interested in getting involved in an organization in the city who is working on behalf of all of us, I recommend that you get involved with the Virginia Beach NAACP. Now, acknowledgement and commemoration. I want to, I try to acknowledge somebody. And so to all my ladies out there, do not get upset because I acknowledge men, okay? I will acknowledge women as well. But this month in August, we had 2 people that we lost. One was Huey P. Newton, who lost his life on August the 22nd, 1989. And the other was Bayard Rustin lost his life on August the 24th, 1987. And I just want to say a few words about each one of them because I think it's important. Oh my God. My computer is acting crazy, so I'm not going to be able to do it that way. Okay. But anyway, Huey Newton, I'm going to have to say it off the top of my head. Huey Newton, of course, was a Black Panther. And they formed the Black Panthers mainly because of the mistreatment of our community. We had situations where police officers would just ride through the community, even if children were on their tricycles. They would ride through the community, didn't care if they rode over top of our children or what have you. We had situations where the police officers, if they even thought that a Black person was doing something wrong, and even if they didn't think, well, maybe he might be, they really nearly could just shoot persons down. So ultimately, Black Panthers came together, Bobby Seals and Huey Newton. And Huey Newton was more or less, he was a logistics guy. You know, he was out there in the community, working in the community, trying to do things that would help our community and make our community stronger. And so, unfortunately, he was murdered in 1989, like I indicated. And he was the one that worked on self-defense. He taught our people self-defense, taught them how to protect themselves from their enemies. He came out of school almost illiterate, and he taught himself how to read. He went on to college. So our people fight, and they fight very hard. He went on college, got his degrees and everything. Graduated from the University of California, Santa Cruz with a bachelor's, a master's, and a PhD. Okay? So tell me that we are simply DEI. No. We definitely earned everything that we have. We definitely earned everything. Not some of the things, but we earned everything that we have. Fought for everything that we have. So a lot of times people like to say, let's celebrate, let's celebrate, let's celebrate. I like to acknowledge and commemorate those who have come before us, our ancestors, and the work that they have done to allow us to be where we are. And so I thought that it was important for us to not forget our ancestors. In this case, Huey Newton. Huey Newton, I'm going to pull up what he said at the end. He said that you can kill me, you can kill my body, you can take my life, but you can never kill my soul, because my soul will live forever. So even as he was getting shot, he had the wherewithal to say, you can kill my body, you can take my life, but you can never kill my soul, because my soul will live forever. So that's Huey Newton. He was murdered 8/22/1989. And then the other gentleman that I want to acknowledge and remember is Bayard Rustin. And I know I talked a little bit about him last week because he's just phenomenal. Even though people may have disliked him because he was Black, or they may have disliked him because he was gay. The thing about Bayard Rustin is that he studied. He understood logistics. He was an unsung hero. He was instrumental in the March on Washington in 1963. But the one thing about him is, regardless of what you feel about his lifestyle or whatever, he was a man of character. He was not going to disown his Blackness. He was not going to disown his lifestyle. to try to please anybody. And so, three of the lessons that you could learn from Bayard Rustin is that one, character counts more than charisma. And he had charisma because he could go into a room and speak, and people would be in awe. But the other thing he, had to understand about him is that every movement needs a glue person. Bayard Rustin was the glue person. Okay. He was the glue person. He was the one that kept the civil rights movement together. And then the third thing is action without hope is impossible. The bottom line is you want to take action, but you don't want to be deterred by cynicism and pessimism. Keep in mind, they are your enemies. We are in a situation right now that cynicism and pessimism can kill the movement of what persons are trying to create, and that is to make sure that Kamala Harris becomes the next president of the United States. And I have a quote by a general. I don't know this General Omar Bradley, but he was in World War II, and he said, "Amateurs talk strategy and professionals talk logistics." And I wanted that particular quote because of Bayard Rustin, because Bayard understood logistics. He understood bringing people together, but he understood that you had to operate in a manner that you kept your people together, but you kept it organized and you kept disruption and dysfunction out of the organization. And so with that being said, I want to acknowledge and commemorate Huey P. Newton, Bayard Rustin as both unsung heroes that don't get enough time from our community. And I do this because I don't want us to forget. We have a tendency to forget. Part of the thing that I noticed about I would say not only the country, but a lot of times even in our own community, we only focus on a few people and we forget the broader group of people who were instrumental in making real change in our community. It wasn't just 2 or 3 people. It was a lot of people who were willing to fight on our behalf. And whether you liked them or not, whether you thought that they were the right person or what have you, they made a difference. And we have a tendency to want to just select certain people. But then we want to talk about our faith. And so when I hear people sitting here, well, I don't think that they have the right clothes, or I don't think their hair is right, I always go back to David. And again, this month is going to focus on faith. So you will hear me relate back to scripture a lot. I want to talk about David for a minute. When they were looking for a king, and got there to look for a king, and I want to say Samuel was looking for the king. He looked at everything but this little short miniature kid. He was looking at the handsome guy, and he was looking at this one, and he thought he was smart, and he looked at everything but the little short kid. It was David. And so I want us to begin to move away from this business of looking at outward appearances, because some of us do stutter. Some of us don't have the best clothes. Some of us may not live in the finest of finest houses. But if we are people of faith, we are truly people of faith, we should be able to look at them through the eyes of Christ and not look at them in the flesh. And let's look and see what is it that those people bring to the table that will be a benefit to the entire group. And let's learn how to be loyal. Let's learn how to unify, and let's learn how to love people in their own skin, just as they are, and not try to remake them, rebuild them, reconstruct them. and do all of this, because we are not in a position to be trying to remake anybody, because we need to look at ourselves first. Okay. And we got our own problems and our own issues. So I want to just encourage us as we move forward to begin to start looking at what folks bring to the table and not just the outward appearance, because we get so focused on this outward appearance and we tend to lose some of our best, some of our brightest, some of our strongest, some of our better fighters who will stand toe to toe with anybody, regardless of how big they are, how tall they are, how smart or brilliant that they think that they are. And with simple common sense and straight talk, they can change outcomes. So I just want us to go back and begin to look at how we can make a difference in our community by not always looking at outward appearances, because I think that has caused us grave damage. And while we definitely earned it, DI, and earned our place in society, we probably lost many Bayard Rustins, many Huey Newtons, many Bobby Seals, because of how we approach that person. And that's the same thing that's happening now with our young people, because of how they dress, because of whether or not they have tattoos or earrings or whatever. And yes, they may have all those things, but what you want to do with our young people is you still want to have those conversations with them. You still want to find out what they feel and how they feel, so that you can work with them and approach them where they are. Same thing with barbershops, beauty salons, and everything. One of the things that we had during the civil rights movement is we had elders in the barbershop that would kind of move the conversation back to the things that are important. And of course, during that period of time, pretty much everybody went to church. They went to somebody's church. And so from church, there was a faith that they had, and there was a manner that they spoke with younger people of all ages, because they had that ability to be able to say to young people when they're in the barbershop and they're making off the wall comments about Dr. King or Medgar Evers or Malcolm X, to move them back to what is the important thing and not the personality thing. Because most of the times when people are talking about people, they're talking about them based upon a personality, not a position of performance. And so we're gonna have to work with each other. We're gonna have to kind of go back to some of the things that work well if we're going to be successful. And I'm coming close to the end of this time frame, but I do want to make sure to remind everybody that we have work to do. Okay, and I'm going to be talking about this from now until election day. We have work to do, and we have work to do on our local level. There are city council positions open, there are school board positions open, there's mayor position open, but then you got your Congress open. You have your state, the United States Senate position that's open, and you also have your president of the United States position that is open. And if you're going to be successful, and I'm especially talking to young people, I'm especially talking to voters who are cynical, to voters who feel like, well, when I vote, it doesn't count, it doesn't matter, what have you. If you do not make yourself as strong as you possibly can be, you're absolutely right. It won't matter. The one thing that I can say about the Project 2025 after listening to a call with the NAACP, after listening to persons who talked about a Project 2025 on Saturday, after going to YWCA unpacking Project 2025 last night. The one thing that I heard over and over and over and over again at all of these various meetings is that this began in 1973. So for over 50 years, these people have been working to get in place what they feel will be in their best interest. And we whine and cry because a president in 4 years hasn't fixed everything that we want. Now savor that for a moment.
Yeah.
We decide that we're not going to vote because in 4 years, everything that we wanted fixed was not fixed. But these folks, they sat here for 50 years, and all the whole time, they are tinkling with it. They are changing things little by little. And you know why they're able to change those things? Because you didn't vote. So therefore, you allowed them to have far greater power than they ever should have had because you didn't vote. You didn't vote against those interests. So therefore, your interests never got addressed. So I want you to savor that for a moment. When you say you are cynical, when you say you are pessimistic, when you say, well, you know, when I vote, nothing happens and I don't get what I want. Guess what? When they voted, they said we can wait. We can wait you out. And we're going to vote again. And we're going to wait you out. And we're going to vote again. And we're going to wait you out. So over 50 years, they have been voting. They got some things in place. Then they lose an election. They come back. They vote again. They get a little bit more in place. They lose an election or two. They come back. They vote again. But guess what? They never, ever lost what the ultimate goal was. And because you continue to start and to stop, you never have enough people elected to office to move your agenda forward. So that's on you. That is on you. That is not on the elected officials, because guess what? Many of those elected officials who are trying to assist you because you didn't go to the polls and vote, they lost their jobs.
Hello.
They lost their jobs, even though they were writing legislation to accomplish and achieve those things that you wanted. You dropped the ball. You didn't vote. They didn't stay in office. So guess what? The people who don't support your agenda went into office, and you know what they did? They went against everything that you were in favor of. So don't blame them. Blame yourself. You didn't vote. You dropped the ball. And that is why things are where they are today, because they stayed the course. You didn't. That's like running in a relay or the one where they pass the baton. Now, what the heck good is it if you're running in a race and you got to pass the baton to the second person and they don't show up? They ain't, you turn around to get ready to give the baton to that person and they're not behind you to take the baton. Well, to all of you young people, to all of those folks sitting in the barber shop whining and complaining and everything, guess what? You left the race, so the person that was they're not the anchor, they're the lead runner. That second person wasn't there, so they had to keep running until the third person caught up. Now, how difficult do you think that is when all the other teams have 4 people in the race and you only have 3. What do you think your chances are of winning that race?
Slim to none.
So that's what we've had. We've had people that start and stop, start and stop. And so consistently being able to get enough people on our side to pass legislation that we want and to do it on a consistent basis became a real issue. So with that being said, it is coming to the end of the show.
Oh, yeah.
And faith is work. I want you guys to remember that. So when you're out there and you're praying and you're praying and you're praying, and Lord, please do this and please do that, get up and go to work.
Good job.
That said, I am Georgia Allen. I am GA for Justice. We come on Just Is. We come on every single solitary Thursday at 12 noon. Look forward to seeing you next week as we bring to you another message of IMANI. Thank you.
Hey, that's what it's all about. You know, thank you so much for your hard work and dedication and bringing information to the community because they need it. Once again, you've been listening and watching GA for Justice with the community activist, Miss Georgia Allen. And don't forget to share this link with some of the people on your social media. And you can even text them too to their phone and let the word get out that we are. Who is that?
That's me.
Oh, you want to?
Sorry.
Oh, no problem. We are there to bring you information for transformation. I think I said that right. I think I said it right. I don't mean to steal your line.
We bring you a conversation for information, correction, and transformation.
Okay, yeah. That's why I had to say it while you was here, because I can't remember everything. I try, but hey, I'm only
That's
here.
Okay. That's why we're a team.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying is, and want to thank you for coming up with the great topics and researching information, because they don't understand that they're passing bills in states so that Black people in school will not know their history. So it's important for us to be able to have, such a person like yourself as knowledgeable. And this is a volunteer work right now, because if y'all like to make some contributions or some donation, hey, don't forget to hesitate to drop something in the bucket, because research time, gas, going this place and that place, we have to find a way to make sure Miss Allen, Georgia Allen, your community activist, at least have gas money or lunch money or something, because we penny pitching over here, but hey, I ain't worried, because the man upstairs said victory shall be mine. And thank you once again, Miss Georgia Allen. And on behalf of On Digital Media, don't forget, we'll be back next week with another great topic from the community activist, Miss Georgia Allen. And remember this, everybody has a right to vote, and everybody should vote, but I'm with her. I'm with her. So don't forget. And we fired up and ready to go.
Absolutely.
Fired up and ready to go. Don't get it twisted over here. Until next time. Bye-bye, y'all.
Bye-bye.